Immigrants, asylum seekers, refugees, foreigners, racism. This is going to be a divisive video, and whether you think that there's too much racism or the word gets thrown around so casually that it doesn't really mean anything anymore, this is not a video for people who want to listen to someone say stuff they already agree with. I'm going to say stuff you disagree with, but I'm hoping you have enough perspective to step back and let me articulate it. 2016, I voted to remain in the EU. I woke up all excited. I just turned 18 at the time. I was super excited. I want an easy vote. We're going to win by a landslide. Marched over to the office, signed it, ready to be proven right. As you can imagine, I was shocked, flabbergasted. I was so, it's hard to explain how shocked I was. It felt like the echo chamber I was in revealed itself. The walls showed themselves, and I was like, oh shit, I don't understand reality. My worldview's wrong. But when I asked my family, my parents, they said we must just live alongside racists. My mum said that she thinks the overwhelming majority of the 52% that voted to leave want people like us gone. You know, mind you, we were both raised here, raised Catholic. To me, that felt like a cop-out. It felt like a lazy understanding that showed her inability to understand reality rather than that she was correct and everyone was just racist. Because if half the country wants us gone, we are beyond fucked. Like, not only does that not go against most of your experiences in the UK, if half the country wants us gone, we're screwed. Like that, I knew there had to be another explanation.
We can say who comes in, how many come in, and what type of people come in.
One of the biggest reasons people voted to leave was tighter immigration laws. Not necessarily no immigration, tighter immigration.
But then it's those new Brexit rules and new immigration rules coming in that really kickstarts that big leap.
Yet in the next 10 years, immigration is expected to double. From 2.2 million in the previous decade to about 5 million in the next one. That's some serious smoke and mirrors, evasive manoeuvres done by the government. Now, I'm not going to go into the geopolitical factors that might have resulted in that, because the goal of this video is understanding, not debunking, and frankly, I fucking hate politics. Imagine from the perspective, you democratically vote for one thing, the government performs some evasive manoeuvre, and then 5 years later, this thing's doubled. People are fucking absolutely pissed, and rightly so.
And the English people in this country are suffering because of the open door policy.
Typically, immigrants are poor people. And it didn't take me scraping a B in sociology to know that poor people commit crime. All poor people. Whites, blacks, Asians. And how do I know? Because I grew up around it. I grew up around crime, and if you go to any poor area in the UK, you see it. It's very obvious. Now, obviously, wealthy people commit crime as well, but it's different crime. And I'm not saying that it doesn't affect the country worse, but it's less personal. It's less like violent. There's been riots all over the UK, Epping, Norwich, Westminster, Manchester, which is where I'm from. People are pissed. Now, I'm mixed race. I did the whole 23andMe thing. I'm 60% white British. But when you look at me, you can't tell. I just look white. You know, my grandma's white. I love her to death. But I look brown. Despite that, every 27 years I've lived in the UK. My whole life, and every single encounter I've had with white people has been nothing but positive. I've lived up north, down south, in the Midlands. Everywhere I go, as long as I was friendly to people, people were friendly back. We'll talk about our days, or listen to me vent about work and shit. Like, 27 years, I've not had a single bad experience where I felt like I was made to feel unwelcome. But 2 days ago, I woke up and I had a shit day. Sometimes you just wake up and like your thoughts are heavy. So I go outside and I try and ground myself in nature. I'm sat on this bench looking at these ducks, trying to just relax. I hear a voice shout near me, "Where are you from?" I don't really realise it's to me. I'm a bit in my own head, like thinking about shit. And then I hear it again. It's from the distance. "Where are you from?" I'm turning around like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I go, "I'm from here, mate." He goes, "Nah, I don't think so." I guess I start to click in my head, oh, this guy thinks I'm a threat. Now, at first I'm confused. I'm trying to like... Growing up brown in the UK, I'm very aware that I almost try and overcompensate. I'm very, very, what's the word, insecure that people might see me as a crazy immigrant. Like when you when you pass old people in the street, you'll sort of overly, "Oh, hey, have a good day," because you don't want them to think you're scared. That's how I feel operating in the UK, because I'm worried people are gonna judge me. That's a fear I have. Now, this guy made an emotional judgment about me. There's no way he could have... He was saying to me, "You're looking suspiciously at those houses." Mind you, I was sat on a bench looking at ducks, but he says, "No, you're standing there suspiciously looking at the houses." I'm trying to just explain to him, "No, I just had a bad day, like, I just come here to relax, watch." He sees that as like me making excuses. He's like, nah, I don't trust you, if those houses get burgled, I'm going to know it's you. He gets his phone out and starts recording me. At this point, I went from feeling like confused to just insulted. This guy was typical working class, and mind you, I have a bachelor's in economics, I've got a master's in finance, I'm well educated, I've been very fortunate. I want to start comparing our jobs, comparing our salaries. Like, my ego's flared up, and I want to drag him down with me. Like, because I'm feeling hurt. I want to get him back. But he wasn't being evil. He was concerned, but he wasn't threatening me. He wasn't throwing anything at me. He didn't call me any names. He was concerned. He just believed I was a threat, that I was going to go burgle some houses. It wasn't evil. And I said to him, I get it, you're a concerned citizen, obviously you think I'm a threat, you're just trying to protect the community you're from, and naively, being honest, I wish that he'd gone, "Oh, of course, I was just checking, come over, shake my hand." Like, he didn't he didn't believe me. He didn't give a fuck. He just goes, yeah, make sure you're not doing anything, because I've got you on camera. If those houses get burgled, no, it's you, mate. Walks off. I'm just there, adrenaline response, because I'm ready. I don't know if he's gonna do something like... I talk a lot about empathy on this channel, and I'm hoping you have enough of a brain to take a step back and realise, if there's always going to be divisive issues, I don't mean like, if there's one lone crazy person, like that's some psychopath, but like any issue where it's like 50-50, 60-40, whatever, I think those act as guardrails to like move us forward as a society. If there's an issue that's 50-50 and you believe that the other side that disagrees with you is just completely clown idiots, there's nothing, they're not understanding reality at all, that says more about your inability to understand their perspective than you correctly understanding their perspective, but that they're just wrong. If that many people, half the group, think one thing, there's something that they believe that's true. Whether you like that or dislike that, I'm not frankly bothered about. There's a kernel of truth in that. And you have an opportunity to stay in a further dividing, further polarizing, further separating world where it's pitting one side against another, which, if you pay any attention to the media, you'll know is becoming a fucking train wreck. People think we're on the brink of a civil war. Or you can give them the benefit of the doubt, at least try and understand from their perspective, you know, give them a chance. I'm sick and tired of being shocked. I've had that day that I got that my fucking echo chamber, my reality collapsed after we left the EU. I've had that day. I will never let myself be so chambered in by people, you know, by people that agree with me, that I'll be that surprised again. And I never let that happen since. And there's been a bunch of decisions since then. And whether I agree or disagree with them, I'm never shocked, no matter what the result is. I think that's the problem these days, is that people become so surprised. It's like my parents, where we voted to leave, and they, rather than adjust their worldview that maybe people can want tighter immigration laws and not be racist. I mean, mind you, I think that everyone's racist to a certain degree, but thinking that they actually hate people that aren't from the country they're from, like, that's such a lazy worldview, but that's what everyone does on both sides. It's like, I found myself to never let myself be confused again. And I had an opportunity in that moment to just start firing off, making the guy feel bad, because he definitely was, like, less, frankly, even though he's white, less privileged. Both my parents went to university. I've been very fortunate. I went to university and studied, and I didn't have to pay rent when I was young. You know, they just let me live there as long as I wanted till I could move out. I could have just started wigging off on him and clowning him and trying to make him feel bad, but for what? Like, then I'm just becoming more entrenched in my ideas. I'm not seeing the fact that he wasn't being evil. He was concerned. I'm trenching him in his ideas, where he thinks that all people that look a certain way are uneducated or a threat. And then people who do look like me, who aren't as articulate, who aren't as educated, who frankly haven't been as fortunate as I have, taxi drivers, Uber drivers, local boss man, they're fucked. And like, I have an opportunity. I hate when people cry about social issues, but then in their own direct life are refusing to make anything that's slightly uncomfortable, refusing to ever extend the olive branch and be at least charitable. Like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that you're always expecting change, but in your own personal life, you're not willing to ever take a stand on anything. At least people out there protesting in the streets believe in something, whether they're for or against. Most people sit at home, typing their opinion online, not doing anything. I had a moment to give in and meet that guy's energy, but I'm realising the futility of it. And frankly, if you're someone who thinks that guy was evil, imagine that you are living in a poor white area. There's crime happening. They move a bunch of migrants in. Migrants commit crime. Let's be honest. You know, if you've ever been to fucking Piccadilly Gardens, you'll see it's not a safe place. It's not like a war zone, but you can't be just walking around with your phone out. You have to be careful. You feel concerned about that. You vote for something democratically to reduce that, yet it's doubling. If you can't see how that would make someone feel uncertain, unsafe, untrustworthy, especially of governments, then I don't know what to tell you. You're probably beyond hope. And it says more about you than the other person. Like, that's completely reasonable. I'm not saying it shouldn't be critiqued, as with anything, but it's reasonable. And if you're someone who sees someone like me, and what I wish the guy had done, maybe he believed I was a threat, maybe he believed I was dangerous. I'm not saying don't be a concerned citizen, but go over, ask a question. Like, don't... He's seen me sat down there, and he's assumed why I was there. He filled in the blanks. There was nowhere near enough data to conclude that I was planning on robbing the house. He's assumed I was and gone over with that energy. If he just asked me, what are you doing? You know, like, I didn't feel like his heart was open. I felt like he'd already made up his mind when he came over to say something. Like, that makes me feel rejected. You know, I've been very fortunate being in a lucrative career. I pay taxes. Like, it makes me feel rejected, even though I'm 60% fucking white. It makes me feel othered, and it makes me want to start dragging him down. And I'm not like that typically as a person. I'm trying not to be, but being honest, that's what it made me want to do. I recognise that's an ego response, but it is what it is. I wanted to get one back on him, stop calling him poor, unsuccessful, broke. And at that point, I think he's evil and not concerned, which he was. And he thinks that I'm just some crazy person that like hates whites, like, you've seen one, you've seen them all. Like, neither of us are living in reality, and both of us come away feeling more right, but we understand reality less. What a crazy fucked up mind trap. I guess the next time you're arguing or speaking or seeing someone who you believe lies on a different opinion, this is to do with anything, give your most earnest attempt to understand from their perspective why they're doing what they're doing. Don't try to assume things for them. Don't try to place things on them. And don't try to debunk them. Nothing pisses you off more than when you feel something in your heart and someone's trying to constantly debunk you. And I think whether or not you change that person's mind, hopefully you do, or hopefully you find common ground. But even if you don't, at least the world makes more sense to you. And you won't be like me, fucking, you know, clown in 2016. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like. I hope you enjoyed this one, and yeah, thank you.